To open up today's show, we're going to talk about a potential blockbuster trade that would send Devin Booker to the Minnesota Timberwolves to team up with Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. I'm your host, as always, Jimmy Crowther, breaking down all the latest NBA news and rumors, and this one is a fun one. Now, we all know Karl-Anthony Towns and Devin Booker played together at Kentucky, and now D'Angelo Russell's in Minnesota, and he has stated before that he wants to play with both Towns and Booker on the same super team at some point in their careers. Now, all three of these guys are really, really young, so it makes sense that they could end up playing together at some point. And Tim Bontemps actually went on ESPN and said this verbatim. Minnesota would love to pull off a blockbuster move and team up Phoenix Suns star Devin Booker with close friends D'Angelo Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, just because one team would love to make it happen does not make it a very realistic possibility. Now, Booker does have a close relationship, as mentioned before, with D'Lo and Towns, and the Timberwolves would definitely have to move that number one pick in order to get Devin Booker. But since Booker's been in Phoenix, he hasn't made the playoffs in 5 years with that team. So the only way that Devin Booker gets moved this offseason is if he forces a trade from Phoenix. But even I don't see that happening. Now, this year, he put up 27 points per game, pulled down 4 rebounds, dished out over 6 assists, and shot better than 35% from 3. And we all know he was named Bubble MVP after he led his team to an 8-0 run, but still couldn't break his way into the playoffs. So I made up a trade idea. If it were to happen, and I do not think it will, I do not think Minnesota has the firepower to trade for Devin Booker. I think Minnesota would have to trade the number 1 pick, Jarrett Culver, who they drafted in the first round last year, Josh Okogie, who I love, is one of the great defensive young players in the league, and then James Johnson just to make the money work. Meanwhile, Minnesota would get their third piece in Devin Booker, and then Minnesota starts to take a turn for the better, and their starting 5 looks something like this. You got D'Lo and Booker in the backcourt together. That's 2 scoring guards that can both handle the ball and can both dish out passes well as well. Jake Layman's probably your starting small forward now because I don't really know who else you got. Towns in the middle, of course, your main piece, your all-star center. And then Amari Spellman takes over that starting power forward position. Look, the depth here would not be good, and they probably still wouldn't make the playoffs in the Western Conference, but at least you have 3 young pieces to build around. Now, Phoenix, on the other hand, takes a step backwards. Now, they have the number 1 pick. They also have the 10th overall pick. So I think what they would do is at 10, draft a point guard and go with Killian Hayes, probably out of France because he's probably available at 10. At number 1, you take Anthony Edwards. He starts at the shooting guard position. Now you can start 6'7" Jarrett Culver at the forward position. And then Kelly Oubre is probably a power forward, I guess, a very small ball power forward. And DeAndre Ayton in the middle. And while that's fun and young to build around for the future, you are nowhere closer to making the playoffs than you were with Devin Booker. So I think Phoenix shuts this one down, but it's the best trade idea I could come up with to get Booker on the Timberwolves. So who do you think says no? If you think it's the Timberwolves, type MIN. If you think it's the Suns, type PHX for Phoenix. I'm going to be typing my PHX. I don't think the Suns are going to look to trade Devin Booker, especially for a number 1 pick that, in all honesty, isn't that strong and isn't really a sure thing. Now, had this been a number 1 pick like a Luka Doncic or maybe a Zion Williamson last year, maybe Phoenix would listen. But with Anthony Edwards kind of being a bit of a question mark, I think Phoenix says no. Now, another team that's looking to make some trades and make some offseason moves could be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Royce Young has been an insider with the Thunder for as long as I can remember, and he came out and straight up said on a podcast that if Oklahoma City trades Chris Paul, which they will likely do, then they'll look to rebuild, which would include trading Steven Adams and Dennis Schroder as well. They also have veterans like Danilo Gallinari, Andre Roberson, and Nerlens Noel all hitting the open market. Now, Chris Paul is kind of getting set to say goodbye to Oklahoma City. He posted a video on social media. He had a great season. The Thunder surprised absolutely everybody. And I know Thunder fans have fallen in love with Chris Paul, but his thank you video to Thunder fans also sounded a bit like a goodbye, saying, I don't know what the future holds, but I had fun here. It was a great run. And he does have 2 years, $85 million left on his contract, so that could be a good incentive for the Thunder to go ahead and offload him while he still has value. Because as you've seen, the past 4 years, we've gotten a very unreliable up and down Chris Paul. The numbers looked good from 2016 to 2019, but he was not playing and he was not healthy very consistently in those games. He also couldn't get his team back into, past really where they wanted to go. But now he's built this Oklahoma City Thunder team back up. He's at 17.6 points per game. He played in almost every single game for the Thunder this season. He has value. And if Oklahoma City wants to rebuild with all their young pieces and future draft assets, they can trade him now. One thing I want you guys to do and check out right now is Fanatics. When you go to chatsports.com/NBA mask, you can get your favorite team face mask right here, right now on Fanatics. This one on screen, look, I already got mine. You can get yours. My favorite thing about this, it's machine washable. You can throw it in the wash because you got to wear it all day no matter where you go now. So go pick yours up today. You can get 1, 2 packs of 3 or packs of 4 for a great deal at chatsports.com/NBA mask. No matter who your team is, maybe it's the Knicks. Well, that works out perfectly because that's who we're going to talk about next, because maybe New York City is the team that could look to trade, the New York Knicks, New York City, whatever, could look to trade for Chris Paul. Ian Begley, again, a guy like Royce Young with the Thunder. Ian Begley's very plugged in with the Knicks. He said that New York is very interested in trading for Chris Paul, but they also have another priority on their mind, and that's trading Julius Randle away because Randle has a lot of money left. Now, the Knicks have the 8th pick and the 27th overall pick in the draft, and they could use those as either A, trade chips to go out and get a guy like Chris Paul, or B, something to package with Julius Randle to offload that contract. Knicks Fan TV on YouTube was quoted by saying the number one priority this offseason for the Knicks will be trading Julius Randle. They are going to look to trade him. He said it is a sure thing, and he's already heard that there's certain teams calling about him, and I don't blame him. Julius Randle's still a young power forward. He was just drafted a few years back by the Lakers. He's bounced from team to team. He's gone from the Lakers to the Pelicans, now with the New York Knicks, and everywhere he's gone, he has been productive. He's been able to score the ball. He's a solid rebounder. But the problem is, now that he's in New York, he's getting paid like a number one guy. But really, he should be like a third, maybe even a fourth option on a team. In New York, he's tried to do things that are kind of out of his role and things that really don't fit him. He's tried to handle the ball too much and shoot jump shots. So there's been a lot of frustration with Knicks fans and the front office with Julius Randle. So maybe the Knicks and Thunder can make a deal. And here's how I could see it playing out. Now, I'm not 100% sure who says no in this. I'll break that down here in a minute. But I think the Knicks get Chris Paul, so they get their starting point guard for the future. And they also have the 8th pick, so they can keep on building with young pieces. They get Julius Randle off the books, trade him to Oklahoma City. He can be part of a young rebuild. Elfrid Payton, who's kind of just a throw-in, and same with Taj Gibson to make the money work. And then they also have to package their 2nd first-round pick this year, which is number 27 overall, to get those contracts off and to get Chris Paul back. Now, Julius Randle becomes a part of a rebuild with guys like SGA and Darius Bazley and even Lou Dort in Oklahoma City. So you saw my trade idea, Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton, Taj Gibson, a first-round pick, all going to the Thunder in exchange for Chris Paul. So who says no? Think it's the Knicks, type NYK. Think it's the Thunder, type OKC. I'm going to say the Thunder. I don't think they're going to want to take on that much money, and I don't think the 27th overall pick in the first round is going to be enough for them to say, hey, we'll give up our all-star veteran point guard for just a bag of chips and Julius Randle. Let's talk about Zion Williamson. Actually, one guy that somebody, I'm not going to name names here, but there was an NBA scout that said he's basically just Julius Randle. That ain't true. But anyway, Zion is getting his very own shoe with the Jordan brand. The shoe will be called the Jordan Z Code, and it will be releasing in 2021. Now, immediately after he was drafted first overall by the Pelicans, actually before that, he signed this deal with Jordan, so you knew this was coming soon. And in just 24 games played, he scored 22 points, pulled down 6 rebounds per game, and shot better than 42% on a very limited amount of three-point attempts. Here's my thing, though, and this is where I'm going to put my commentary in. Zion's getting a shoe deal, and he's getting a signature shoe before a guy like Luka Doncic, who's already proven more than Zion Williamson, and a guy like Jason Tatum, who really he's proven more than Zion as well. So I love Zion. I think he definitely deserves his own signature shoe eventually, but the guy's played 24 games. He hasn't proven anything. He hasn't even gotten his team to the playoffs. I'm glad he's getting a shoe. Good for I give him a round of applause. Good for you, Zion, but I'm kind of baffled by the idea of giving him a shoe before giving Luka Doncic a shoe while Luka's already an MVP candidate, while Zion's not even 100% healthy yet. So who do you think deserves that signature shoe more? Think it's Luka? Type Luka. Think it's Zion? Type Zion. It's just that easy. You can catch me typing Luka in the comment section. That will come as a surprise to nobody. Now, if you want the best NBA coverage 24/7, all day, every year, absolutely free, no matter when, no matter where you are, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed to youtube.com/chatsportstv and hit that notification bell because we're putting videos out all the time, and there's a chance that you'll just gloss right over one. You might miss one. I just put out top 5 teams for LaMelo Ball, top 5 trade candidates for Victor Oladipo, and now we got all these news and rumors. You're not going to want to miss a thing with the NBA offseason creeping up on us. Now let's talk about Chauncey Billups, the guy who wants a head coaching position. Ever since Billups retired back in 2014, he has been looking at coaching somewhere, but he hasn't gotten the calls quite yet. Chris Haynes is now reporting he's looking to get into the coaching game once again. Now, Billups had an illustrious NBA career. He played with a lot of teams, even though you think when you think Chauncey Billups, you think of Denver and you think of Detroit, but he also played 159 games with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played 51 games near the back half of his career with the LA Clippers. And then also in the front half of his career, he was playing with Boston and Toronto. Yeah, he played for the Raptors. I kind of forgot about that, but he was there very early on in his career before getting traded. And then he ended his career with the New York Knicks, or in the back part of his career with the New York Knicks, played in 21 games. So he's been around the league. He knows a lot of different coaches. He knows a lot of different NBA teams and systems. He's ready to start being a head coach somewhere, and lucky for him, there's some teams that need a head coach. Pelicans just fired Alvin Gentry. They still haven't hired anybody. Indiana Pacers just fired Nate McMillan. They haven't hired anybody. Philadelphia 76ers, they let Brett Brown go. Now, there's reports that Tyronn Lue may already have a job there, but nothing official yet. Chicago Bulls, Jim Boylan's gone. Maybe Chauncey Billups steps into that role. There's a lot of teams that need a head coach, and I think Chauncey Billups is a guy that could step right into a head coaching position without spending any time as an assistant. But what do you think? Which team of those 4, maybe you got a different team in mind, should go ahead and hire Mr. Big Shot Chauncey Billups? Let me know in the comment section below.